A long time ago, I made a video where I ranked every Kingdom Hearts game based only on story because I hadn't actually played any of the games yet at that point. I've played them all now, so now that I've decided I want to put more focus on making ranking videos here on my channel, I figured a remake of that video was in order. Plus, we have got a bit more content since then, and my opinions have changed a bit. But since I spent such a significant amount of my time as a KH fan knowing only the story and not really caring about the gameplay, those two things still do feel very separate in my mind. So I've decided that I'm going to make two separate ranking videos of the Kingdom Hearts games, the first one ranking the stories and the second one ranking the gameplay. And sure, I'll throw together a list taking both into account that I'll show at the end of the next video for those who care, why not? But since I am going to be talking about story in this video, yes, there will be spoilers, so beware. Kinda surprised Corn Popo hasn't shown up yet like he said he would at the end of the last ranking video. Oh well, his loss.
Is it on? I think it is. Okay, since I didn't really know what to say about the things last time, I decided that I would just look at Phil's script and then film myself talking about all this stuff separately, and then Crab will add it in later. Yeah. So let's do that.
On a scale of 1 to 10, it's not good.
Look, everyone knows that Coded has the worst story in the Kingdom Hearts series. It doesn't move the plot of the series forward at all, and the Disney worlds are yet again just repeats of KH1. Heck, people always complain about how the 358 Days Over 2 cutscene movie takes out too much, but the Recoded movie leaves in too much, specifically of the Disney worlds. I mean, I guess the part with Sora, Cloud, and Hercules teaming up is cool, but the rest of the Disney stuff just doesn't need to be there. But there's nothing I like about this game. I like how it kind of serves as both a recap of what came before and subtle foreshadowing of what's to come. The whole Castle Oblivion section is thematically pretty good. I've never really had much of a problem with this not being actual Sora, since it's more meant to foreshadow the journey he'll go on in his next two games, and I do like the ending well enough. But taking the whole package into consideration, yeah, it's mostly just kinda nothing.
Oh yeah, so Coded. That one is... Wait, what is that one again?
Need some help in here?
What? No, I'm in the middle of recording.
Yes, I noticed. You're attempting to record a video of you talking about something you hardly even remember. So I'm here to help you out.
What? But I wanna...
Hi everyone, I'm Bean Nana, and I'm here to help Corn Popo help Phil talk about the Kingdom Hearts games.
But I wanna do it by myself!
Oh.
With the 1D tier out of the way, the C tiers are the ones that are just super short and don't have a lot of story to offer compared to the other games. First up is 0.2, which has about an hour of story content about Aqua's struggles in the Realm of Darkness. It's pretty decent stuff and definitely helps the resolution of this arc in KH3 feel even more cathartic, but it just doesn't really bring anything new to the table. Besides the fact that Mickey knew she was down there since KH1, which for the record I do think the reasons they give for not being able to go rescue her since then are legitimate. The reasons Yen Sid gives, I mean, not the stupid crap Mickey says. I had to respect her choice? What choice? What are you talking about?
Not of light or darkness, but on the other side?
Let's be real, Melody of Memories' story basically just feels like an extension of the Limit Cut episode from KH3 rather than its own thing. But what gives it the slight edge over 0.2 is that it actually does move the story forward the slightest bit and give us new lore, giving us the name Quadratum, introducing us to the idea of the world of fiction, and even sending Riku over there to begin whatever part he'll have to play in the Lost Masters arc. Plus, we get to see Kairi fight against her trauma of Xehanort, something I wish the series explored more often, and learn that she's going to be training with Aqua, which was honestly the hypest part of this whole 20 minutes of cutscenes for me, and I hope we actually get to see a decent amount of that.
Oh, no, you are not getting involved in this.
Yeah, I have a camera stand this time, so I don't need you.
Oh.
So that means you leave now.
No.
Owie.
Hee hee!
Why do you do that at the camera when we aren't even keeping this in the video?
I don't know. Maybe we'll do an outtake reel or something.
but don't you think the audience will be confused about that whole thing?
That confusing? Come on, they ain't seen nothing yet.
That's true. Just wait till they hear about geeing.
Ha! Yeah, that'll be a hard one to explain. Unrelated, but have you noticed how much of a key crab is?
Say, Kyrie, what was your hometown like?
Our first game on this list with a substantial amount of story and our first B tier is, fittingly, Kingdom Hearts 1. I also imagine this is the point where my rankings might start getting a little controversial. Look, I get that a lot of people might like this game's more simple story, and I do really respect this game for being the one that started it all. And KH1 does definitely have a uniquely mysterious atmosphere that I do like, I'll give it that. And props to them for ending the first game of such an experimental series on a cliffhanger, that's a bold move. But every time I go back to KH1, I just end up missing Organization 13 and the character that they bring to later games. The main trio's fine, but all three of them also get better in later games. Also, not gonna lie, Ansem Seeker of Darkness, a little overrated. There, I said it.
Darkness. It's the smell of darkness.
Chain of Memories has its fair share of problems, wonky pacing, samey environments, rehashed Disney worlds, to name a few. But what puts it above KH1 is its new characters. Naminé is great, though once again I wish they had leaned just a little bit harder into showing just how traumatized this poor girl was and how she got over it in later games. Replica Riku is a super fascinating character too, but it's the introduction of Organization 13 that really makes this game's cutscenes fun to watch. Axel and Larxene in particular just breathe so much life into every single scene they're in. And that's not even to mention the protagonists. Both Sora and Riku's journeys through Castle Oblivion are very cool to watch, with Sora's showing us a side of him that we haven't seen before or since, and Riku's taking him through possibly the most important part of his character arc. I just kinda wish I wasn't staring at white walls the whole time.
Keyblade!
In my opinion, Birth by Sleep tells what is on paper an awesome story, but has one major flaw in execution, and also one slightly less major flaw. But first, the good. Fittingly for a prequel story about three Keyblade masters in training who all experience tragic ends by the hand of their master's former best friend, this story is just epic in scale. Though I do personally think some of this scale is lost a bit when you have to play through the big final showdown 3 times, which is the minor flaw that I mentioned earlier. I just think it feels so much cooler to watch it all edited together, like how Everglow's timeline does it, for example. But the big flaw, and what ultimately keeps Birth by Sleep just out of A tier, is that I don't feel the bond between the 3 main characters as much as the game wants me to, and especially the bond between them and Eraqus. Now, if we're looking at the series as a whole, I definitely do feel it, but that's mostly due to KH3. Speaking of KH3, I also do like both Eraqus and Xehanort as characters in general, but a lot of the reason for that also comes from KH3 and Dark Road, not their introductory game itself. Terra, Ven, and Aqua as individuals are fine in this game. Yes, even Terra, honestly, I think he might be my favorite of the 3. Oh, and seeing backstory for some organization members is always a good time.
Okay, let's retake our intro.
I told you I want to do this by myself.
Come on, when's the last time we filmed something together? It'll be fun, just like old times. Plus, I haven't got to be on Phil's channel yet, and you have, like, multiple times, so...
Fine. Yeah, it will probably be fun. Okay, let's do it.
Say, fellas, did somebody mention the door to darkness?
So, Kingdom Hearts 2, at number 6. Now let me be clear right off the bat. The prologue and entire final area and ending sequence of this game are absolutely incredible. I think that's an opinion shared by most KH fans these days, so I'm not going to go into too much detail on that. If the entire game was just as good, KH2 would easily be top 3 at the very least. But unfortunately, this game's Disney worlds exist. There's 9 main ones, all of which you visit twice, plus 2 minigame worlds, and all of which have hardly anything that's relevant to the main story, even thematically, as far as I've noticed anyway. I mean, there's a few good moments here and there, but most of the important stuff just amounts to an organization member getting a few brief moments in the spotlight. Oh, and there's the one time Auron from Final Fantasy X shows up in Olympus, that's pretty cool. And speaking of Final Fantasy characters, the Hollow Bastion stuff is decent enough too. I do really like the parts when the organization is involved. The reveal that Sora killing Heartless is actually helping the organization is particularly good. And learning about Ansem the Wise is fun too. But all the other story stuff there is not much more interesting than the Disney Worlds in my opinion. Besides, I guess, the decent amount of FF7 fan service. But then we get to the third visit to Twilight Town, and I stop caring about all that because the rest of the story is amazing.
And now darkness within darkness awaits you.
Dream Drop Distance is a hecking mess, but it's a fun mess. Between all of the poorly written exposition of very complicated topics, there are a lot of really good moments in this game that still make it a fun watch. The main thing that makes it very, very slightly above KH2 for me is that there's actually an entire B-plot happening in between the Disney Worlds that really helps keep my interest throughout the entire game, not just at the beginning and end. But believe me, it was very close between these two games. The ending is definitely weaker than KH2's, but it's still really good, with Lee saving Sora from Xehanort and the conversation between Riku and Ansem the Wise being two of the game's big highlights. Overall, some really good setup for the finale of the first saga of the Kingdom Hearts story. Also, the world ends with you hype.
Oh! Tell me more.
It's a bit unfortunate how the actual game of Dark Road ended up, but hey, at least the story was still really good. Getting more backstory for the first saga's main villain was something that the series really needed before KH3 came out. Yeah, I really wish we had got all this stuff about the beginning of Xehanort's story before we saw the end of it, but in the end, I'm just glad we got it at all. It really does a lot to make both Xehanort and Eraqus feel like more complete characters. And speaking of Eraqus, this might honestly be one of the funniest games in the series. And the new characters are decent enough as well. I know one of the major complaints against this story is that it tries to stuff way too many new characters into way too short of a time, but I'm honestly more impressed with how much personality they were able to give some of these characters in such a limited amount of time. And by far the biggest surprise from this game is that it actually had some of the best Disney World integration in the entire series. Like, who saw that coming? Especially after Union Cross's Disney Worlds came off as such afterthoughts. Speaking of...
I take it you're talking about Kingdom Hearts.
Okay, I'm lumping the entire Key saga together for this one, so that's Original Key, Back Cover, and Unchained Key / Union Cross, because let's be honest, that's how most people are going to be experiencing them these days anyway, thanks to YouTube cutscene compilations. Shout out to my side project, the Kingdom Hearts Movie Theater, which I'll be talking about a bit more in the outro. And when you do put them all together, you get a story that introduces some of the most interesting characters and conflicts that the series has ever given us. Sure, some of the Union leaders in Union Cross could have used a bit more development, and having a customizable player character involved can get a bit wonky at times, but the story is worth it for Ava, Luxu, and the Master of Masters alone. And don't say that you only need back cover for that, because some of the scenes that add the most depth to these characters come from flashbacks in Union Cross. Speaking of back cover though, combining the scenes from that into the ones from Original Key just makes the lead up to the Keyblade War all the more fascinating. The Union Cross half of the story could have done a little better with its pacing and character writing, but still has some intriguing mysteries and new lore that make the story as a whole a super good time.
Hi, it's me again, Corn Popo. And also with me this time is my best friend, Bean Nana.
And
me too!
and guess who else is here? My annoying cousin, Corn Yibby Agba.
No! It changes every time.
Howie!
Stop stealing my thing!
Who else will I have ice cream with?
Surprising probably no one, the story of 358 Days Over 2 is an easy S tier. This story already gets praised enough that I feel like I have hardly anything to add to the conversation. Great characters, fun dialogue, an existential crisis every 2 seconds, heartbreaking tragedy, what's not to love? though this one can be a little hard to get the full story of since the game isn't readily available anymore and there aren't any cutscene compilations of the full game that I can find, and most fans will tell you that the full game is the best way to experience the story since the HD movie takes out so much. But the movie is still a good watch, especially with its newly dubbed scenes which are really well done, and still manages to deliver the emotions pretty well despite cutting out so much, which just speaks to how strong the original story is. And is also why I'm working on a cutscene compilation that puts the game and movie together. Cough cough, Kingdom Hearts Movie Theater, wink wink, nudge nudge. What more can I say? It's just that good.
And coming in at number 1, it's...
Look, Kingdom Hearts 3 had a lot of ground to cover. And yes, it waited until the end of the game to cover most of that ground. And yes, parts of that ending can feel like a bunch of loosely connected moments strung together by Sora happening to walk in at the right time. But man, so many of those moments are so good that I just do not care. Every single plotline that truly ends here does so in a satisfying way, and the ones that don't end yet are continued or even started in a very intriguing way that leaves me excited for the future of the series. Any piece of media that managed to get me even the least bit choked up should be commended, and KH3's ending with everyone except Sora hanging out on Destiny Islands did just that. Not to mention that the post-credit scene is literally my favorite scene in the entire series. Still gives me chills every time. I don't care what anybody says, I have always loved KH3's story, and I always will.
Hello? This is take number... I lost count at 7. And my name is... Gah! I can't do this anymore! All my concentration is gone! This video is ruined!
Oh, come on. You can't let my weirdo cousin get to you like that.
Hey! This is your fault too!
What? Sorry.
Guess my adoring fans will have to wait until the next video to see me.
Hey, wait. You've been recording this whole time, right? What if you told Crab to put this in the video anyway?
Why would I do that?
I mean, it's worked out for us before.
Oh yeah! Well, that's better than nothing, I guess. Okay, let's go tell Phil, about the plan.
Good idea. Come on, Corn, you know what? Never mind.
Hello, welcome to the Corny Biag show. With me, Corny Biag.
So there you have it, my ranking of the story of every Kingdom Hearts game. Like I said, next video I will be ranking all of these games by their gameplay. But before that, I would like to quickly make you aware of a side project of mine called the Kingdom Hearts Movie Theater, where I'm making enhanced cutscene compilations of every single Kingdom Hearts game. If you want more details on exactly what I mean by enhanced, you can check out my full explanation video with the link in the description, but I will say that it does involve a lot of dubbing of previously unvoiced scenes, so hopefully that piques your interest a bit. Basically, there will be at least something in every video that makes it different from any other cutscene compilation of that game that you would find anywhere else. I and others have been putting a lot of work into that recently, so I would really appreciate it if you checked that out and shared it around to anyone who might be interested. But that's all I've got for this video, so I will see you in that gameplay ranking or whichever video of mine you choose to watch next. Bye!
The end. Sure.